play of the game from way down.
True, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bombs going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bombs Tastinko gonna find Rainer.
Oh, the life finder keeps Maya up. It was going to be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the next gaming series. I'm your host tonight, Aero, and you may see off to my left here what appears to be not quite Jason. A little bit furrier than Jason might be. Jason will be joining us at some point this evening. Actually, there he is. Jason, you there? Alright, well, I've got him in Discord anyway, so he'll be showing up here sometime soon. Okay, so we'll let everybody at home know. So, crap! They started the game! I wonder if they will nuke it real quick here. I've got Jason. Jason's in the call, but it seems like he may have gone AFK. Well, all right, let's take a quick look at map bans here so that you're caught up to date between Who Knows Gaming and Uncomfortably Numb. We'll get into the draft here in a moment. Map bans coming out from Uncomfortably Numb. We've got Cursed Hollow and Braxis. And we're going to have Towers of Doom and Volskaya Foundry banned out by Who Knows Gaming. The pick tonight going to be Dragonshire from Uncomfortably Numb. Jason, you're back, huh? I joined the call. They started the game like I was telling them, hold up. Jason just got here, and then they hit the button. So,
well, you know, that's what I get for being late.
So we'll get you in on game 2. So I'll call you back at that point, okay?
All right. Have fun, everybody. I'll be watching.
All right. So, quick look at the standings here. So, Uncomfortably Numb sitting at 8th. Who Knows Gaming at 10th. Technically, we got some ties in there, so those numbers are a little bit different. But ultimately, both of these teams looking to score some points and climb their way up the ladder. So, with that in mind, do want to shout out to Emmy, my good friend Emmy, and Bigsby for the bits. Greatly appreciated. Glad that you're here tonight, and let's get into this draft, shall we? Take a look at what we've got so far. As Malfurion and Rexar are going to be the early bans here, followed up by Diablo. I'm gonna use a different pen. That one's not working well. So Rexar is strong on the point, makes it very difficult to take that point away, the shrine from the enemy team. So not a big surprise there. There are a couple of heroes that play really well into Rexar, but whether they don't want to play into those heroes, or they simply don't want to deal with it, or they just feel that Rexar is an amazing hero, they've gotten rid of him. Diablo, a very common ban a short while ago, but after some of the tank adjustments has kind of fallen down in the bans. I don't know that he's necessarily fallen down in the picks, but certainly down in the bans, as other tanks like ETC and even Johanna, I think, are getting banned a little bit more often. Malfurion also not played that often, so, but has pretty significant value with those roots and the AoE cleanse. But our first hero of the game going to be Falstad. Falstad with the Gusts or the Hinterland's Blast, depending on which direction you want to go. And we see the ETC Hanzo. So ETC is going to be able to consider taking Stage Dive, giving him that global opportunity. Hanzo also technically level 20, could take in that level 20 global with play of the game. And I feel like I'm just calling the tanks, and here they are arriving, the ETC Johanna that I mentioned a few moments ago. But that Johanna allowing the presence of Kel'Thuzad to help make chains a little bit easier, and also to pull people back in to that Death and Decay, the Shadow Fisher. So far, I like that. And I think we've actually seen a fair amount of Kel'Thuzad bans across NGS. Probably far more bans than actual games. But people don't want to play against that Kel'Thuzad. Getting a chain on you from 300 miles away. Oh, authentication problems. Oh, that stinks, Jason. Well, we'll get you in on next game. Plenty o' time. I like your head. Well, thank you, Emmy. I like my head too. Oh man. All right, and Alarak gonna be the last ban coming from Uno's Gaming. Alarak seeing again another hero like Kel'Thuzad that has seen kind of maybe a disproportionate number of bans. He's allowing the displacement effect, the silence, the deadly charge, counterstrike, depending on which one you take at 10 there, can really mess up a team. And we're going to see Anduin. I've seen a lot of the Anduin ETC pairings. We saw it last night with Regen Blue, in fact. Didn't quite go according to... In fact, they even did it with Alarak, now that I think about it. Didn't quite go according to, what they would have hoped. Jason in chat was in that game. As some of the timing didn't quite work out. But with Uncomfortably Numb, they're going to have, in addition to a Light Bomb onto ETC, they also have the opportunity for a Light Bomb on Genji. And that Light Bomb, Polymorph's not going to prevent the Light Bomb from going off, but it will prevent Genji from just murdering everybody. So we see our full team out of Uno's Gaming, finishing it off with the Blaze having a really beefy, strong front line into what is so far a pretty squishy team overall. Still fairly squishy overall. ETC gets the armor. I'm sorry, Jason. ETC gets the armor when he's using those abilities. They, as far as potential mosh counters, Blaze can, Brightwing obviously can, Kel'Thuzad can, kind of ish, Johanna can, Falstad can. So literally everybody on their team can counter a potential mosh. So it would not surprise me to see a stage dive here. I mean, I might not take it because, mosh is just great. But other people would. So game number 1 here on Dragonshire. Who do you think's gonna win, chat? Between these two drafts, we've got the Overwatch brothers versus a whole lot of Warcraft heroes. Shoot, who is Novus playing? Let's see, Novus was Genji. Let me fix that real quick and then we'll get onto this. All right, there we go. For the blue team over here, we've got Eminem Hitman on Falstad, Wolf on Johanna, Sojiro on Brightwing, let's see, Shinkaigen on Kel'Thuzad, and Lupus on Blaze. And on the red team for Uncomfortably Numb, I need to switch the overlay. There we go. For the red team, we have Patches on Anduin, Mr. Monkey Man is going to be on Hanzo, Genji's going to be played by Novus, Famous on ETC, and Malthael on Pilot of Earth on Malthael up there in that solo lane. Let's take a look at these talents and go ahead and pop up those heroes again, since I wasn't on the right page for that. Solo lane going to be Blaze V Malthael up here in the top. And in the mid, Kel'Thuzad trying to work on those stacks between the Genji and ETC. But ultimately, we've got Hanzo and Anduin soaking in the bot lane. So they want to try to mitigate how much value they can give to that Kel'Thuzad early in this game. And what do we have here? So ETC very deep in. Again, this is a relatively squishy team, but he can be a little bit more aggressive thanks to the Anduin with a Leap of Faith, who doesn't even ultimately need to use it. And we do see Hanzo going into that scatter arrow build, so lots of W's being thrown out to get the additional damage, and especially in these points, getting an extra couple of arrows out of that will do a pretty significant amount of damage here. ETC power sliding in with Iron Skin being popped, and Johanna saying, "Not today, cowman." Who picked map? This was Dragonshire was picked by Uncomfortably Numb. First pick was for Who Knows Gaming. Let's see. Anything else in chat? No, nothing else in chat. So we've got Kel'Thuzad coming over here to get started on the camp, but it's going to be Falstad caught by the ETC power slide. However, uses that barrel roll to just barely get out. Novus trying to finish the job, but Hitman coming in to help Kel'Thuzad to finish the camp. And now on the other side, we see Hanzo working on theirs. Channel started up top for Uncomfortably Numb, as they've got 2v1 with a little bit of B-step action coming out from Lupus. Arcane forgetting that this map even exists. It doesn't seem like it gets a lot of play. That is true. ETC power sliding onto Wolf. However, not even electing to use the Iron Skin this time. 4v3, I think, in the mid lane or in the bot lane. Yeah, because we've got Falstad up here in the top. They do start this channel, and Falstad's going to get close enough to stall it just in time. And now the bottom control point being flipped to the blue side. Who Knows Gaming picking that up. And there goes those Kel'Thuzad chains, just getting those stacks, sitting at 10 now. Also of note, 10 on the Hanzo quest at level 1. And 4 for Kel'Thuzad's phylactery. We do see the Bribe build coming out from Falstad, so expect to see some camps being taken. There goes the Falstad fly into the bush there behind Malthael, so... Oh, son of a gun, guys. We do get a Kel'Thuzad kill, and now Genji trying to get onto the point. Johanna's going to stall it out, though, and Malthael having to back away. That's what I get for trying to follow the potential gank there. That is true, Arcane. I think if I remember correctly, that you guys have banned it every game or every match for the last season and a half now. And Falstad barrel rolling over onto this half-health Malthael. Let's watch what happens here as Genji coming up will kill the Falstad. The ganker getting ganked. And power slide in at the bottom. It's just him and Anduin, however, so minimal damage coming in onto Shinkaigen. But Kel'Thuzad doesn't have a lot of health to begin with, and the root landing onto Hanzo. So once again, the bottom control point in favor of red. Wolf a little bit low here is going to get the phase shift in from Johanna's going to save her, but it's going to be Kel'Thuzad that goes down thanks to that. And now the control point in favor of Uncomfortably Numb. It looks like they're going to head up there, see if they can't make something happen here. Is Falstad coming over there to try to stall that rotation a little bit. And is definitely paying for it with a quick trip to the graveyard. And now 2 of them dead. looking to get onto this first Dragon Knight, and Lupus going to try to back away there, gets caught by the Chastise. There we go. And so now no minions, but Kel'Thuzad's back, and he might be able to catch this Hanzo if he... Good job on Malthael there. Pilot of Earth stepping in to take not only the chain, but the root to make sure that Hanzo got the Dragon Knight for his team. And level 10's coming up here very soon for Uncomfortably Numb. This is a fantastic position for them to be in. Pretty much once one of these towers or this minion wave dies, they'll have level 10 to go forward. Holy smokes, Arcane Arboretum coming in with 1,000 bits. Thank you very much. Tell Fatlock that I love him and miss him. And that he should also be sitting in the chat, just saying. Fort here going down. Level 10's coming online. We've got X Strike from Genji, Last Rites from Malthael, Light Bomb from Anduin, and the Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo as the first fort does go down. The ETC with Light Bomb does manage to catch Wolf, and there goes Last Rites, is going to finish the job. No kills for Who Knows Gaming to 5 kills here for Uncomfortably Numb. But keep in mind too that they're a little bit behind until they get this Kel'Thuzad stacked. 23 stacks out of 30. So he's getting there, and they're going to have level 10s here soon. So if you're Uncomfortably Numb, you want to get these camps. You want to get all the pressure onto the map that you possibly can before they get the level 10 and can potentially look to invade. And right now we've got 4 in the bot lane. I kind of have to assume that they know they're down there, but it's still kind of questionable because Genji does have pretty quick rotations. Instead, they're going to come in onto the siege camp. A little bit too late to take it, however. ETC gets the knockback. Gonna get the mosh onto Kel'Thuzad and Brightwing, but the gust of wind will push him back. The root onto Famous keeps him locked down there for a moment. The Dragon's Arrow hits onto Lupus, and look at these health bars going down on the red team. ETC power sliding in onto Johanna, and Last Right's gonna take her out once again. Lupus dropping that bunker, trying to save her, but going the wrong direction. And Shinkaigen in a bit of trouble here. They do have Emerald Wind, could have potentially used that, but ultimately, Sojiro says, screw you, KT, this is my disengage. You have a phylactery. Maybe one of these days you'll have that quest completed so you can come back. That's what Brightwing says. That's not what I'm saying. That's what Brightwing said. And now with this double camp pressure in the bot lane coming down, and the root hits onto that Falstad after the face melt from Famous. And the kills just keep coming. Hanzo completing that level 1 quest now, and ETC did take some damage there, but still okay. Has the spell armor here. Shinkaigen in very much trouble as he does get the root onto Anduin, but just not enough. And at this point here, you still have the siege camp, but you're very low, and only Johanna Brightwing to do much, but you don't want to find yourself getting caught even just a little bit with that additional auto attack range coming out from the Brightwing, or even the Johanna getting her cooldown reduction, a blessed shield, and suddenly that Patches dies. And there's the Shadow Fisher to stall out the point for just a moment. Thank you again, Arcane. I really appreciate it. We'll have to let Slexia and Weenus know, because they had quite the battle of who was going to be at the top of the bits chain last night. But Butte will be happy to know that after Celadorn pushed her off of the number 3 spot, that Celadorn also got pushed off. So thanks again. Dragonite coming in the bot lane. Malthael behind the team, looking to catch a little bit of soak, maybe trying to, gather up to level 16 there. A little bit of ways to go from that, though. Shadowfisher used the punt onto Blaze, and here's Malthael. It looks like they should get this keep. They do, and once again, Last Rites taking out Johanna. Blaze charging in onto the Malthael. Does manage to drop that bunker to get out of the light bomb stun, but look at the damage coming out onto Lupus. Just barely caught at the end of that, and Gust throwing Malthael into the core, taking a lot of damage, but ultimately with all 5 of his team up and Anduin there to give him a little bit of health. manages to make it out alive. So 2 kills to none. Overall, 11 kills in favor of Uncomfortably Numb. 0 kills for Who Knows Gaming. And Kel'Thuzad now is fully stacked. And as mentioned earlier, they do have a fairly squishy team. You know, you can deflect off of the Genji. Hanzo can jump, so I mean, he can try to prevent himself from getting chained in an unfortunate area. Malthael, maybe did he take the spell armor? I think that's the spell armor right there. No, that's the unstoppable. So that'll work. So, you know, a variety of different ways, and ETC, depending on where he is, he can even just face melt because he's got that extra range. So a variety of different ways that they could potentially keep somebody alive, and this a little bit aggressive positioning here, but Patch is using that level 13 speed. Light Bomb going out to keep Famous alive, but the Dragon's Arrow as well giving a stun, and Jet Propulsion out to keep the lane slowed and some damage and healing for the Blaze. There's the Hanzo taking all of that Kel'Thuzad damage, but able to stay alive. By the way, we did see off screen there Falstad going down, and now the full team's here trying to make value happen in the mid lane, where there's literally no reason to fight in the mid lane, especially down the level 16s for the blue team at this point. But that all began with ETC and Anduin being a little bit out, and unfortunately for Blaze, he may have just put his team in a really bad spot there. Lupus does manage to get away, but again, this is a down talent tier fight and down heroes fight. Kel'Thuzad is split off by himself, and they don't have Falstad, who is currently clearing the camp that was attacking their core. Up here in the top, though, Hanzo jumping over the tiniest piece of wall. That was so little wall that I almost felt like it was Blaze, and the Hanzo arrow just barely misses. Wolf in danger, gets the Blessed Shield out onto the team to keep them locked down. Patches and Pilot of Earth getting tons of damage from that Shadow Fisher from Kel'Thuzad, and Falstad down at the bottom is going to be able to get that control point. And maybe this could be... Nah, they got Malthael in the middle here. I was gonna say it could be a potential Dragon Knight for the blue team. Johanna coming into Famous. But this is a dangerous place now, and there's the ETC getting pulled in on the chain, but now Wolf in a quite a pickle here, as all of the team showing up, but ultimately able to make it out. Falstad maybe trying to get in onto that point, but Genji able to stop it. And now Hitman just barely able to dodge all of that massive amount of damage that could have come out from the Hanzo, but potential damage doesn't get you a kill. Pyromania popped by Blaze, charging in, trying to stay onto the ETC. Again, they're still down level 16s, and now Malthael gonna go ahead and head to the bottom and grab this Shrine. Wolf very low, and up here we've got Shinkaigen, who's going to find himself in the graveyard. He's gonna use that phylactery to get back out. Hitman in the backline getting a little bit of damage, but taking more of it, and Lupus is gonna jet propulsion out. Wolf coming in, Pilot of Earth getting that last rites I think was used onto Johanna, but it's finally gonna be the first kill of the game for Who Knows Gaming onto ETC. Mark that one down for Hitman. He says we're not going down without having a steak dinner. So, where are we at now? Also, Jason, you're incorrect. Uncomfortably Numb picked the map, I think. Now you got me confused, and I wrote it all down. Novus in danger, popping the deflect, but there are a lot more red health bars here than blue, and they had no tank, and it's going to be Blaze once again going down to that last rites. So actually I think that's the first time for Blaze, but 6 stacks of last rites. That ability is, it's going to be so short, it's practically the same as a regular ability instead of a heroic at this point. Just a little bit later, Shinkaigen getting caught by Genji. There's the big Dragon Zero. ETC power sliding in, not using the Mosh yet though. But the Blessed Shield will stun out 3. And now 2 more deaths. And what are they looking to make happen here? Are they gonna go for core? Malthael is not with them. He doesn't do a lot of core damage, so he's gonna head up for the Dragon Knight. And they don't really have a lot of core damage on their team. I mean, I guess maybe Genji if he took that level, whatever it is, 13, I think, which he did. I don't know if that counts against structures, but the core now with level 20s coming up here. 60%. There's no Falstad, no Kel'Thuzad, so you have minimal damage. It's all on the Blaze, Brightwing, and Johanna. And here comes Kel'Thuzad. And here comes the Dragon Knight. And there's only 56% health on the core. The Dragon Knight likely can finish this by itself. ETC power sliding right back in. They do have that level 20, so they have a huge advantage here. Lupus getting caught, stunned, knocked back, light bomb in the face, and he's going down. Root onto the back there, but ultimately Hanzo and ETC are able to make it out of the Kel'Thuzad. Wolf going to the graveyard, and Hanzo following as well for the second kill as the core going down from the Dragon Knight. And that's going to be game number 1 going over to Uncomfortably Numb. Alrighty. Two to 19, crazy numbers. Crazy. Take a look at these stats. Damage, Hanzo and Genji. I don't remember their surnames, so I don't remember what to call them as far as what type of brothers. But they're the brothers. And Kel'Thuzad there. Here we go. Jason is ringing in. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
Welcome. Are we running your cam tonight?
We can. Let's
okay.
see.
I can switch over to that when we get there. So Jason, as a spectator for that last game, what did you see? What did you like?
I really liked Uncomfortably Numb, their coordination on that map. Not just in how they rotated and how they handled the map objective, but their team fighting was also really on point. Good poke damage, good finishability, and then a lot of synergy there between the Ando and ETC, the ult usage, and basically just the setup for everything. Just very clean game there for Uncomfortably Numb, showing why they're one of the best teams in our division.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna let you keep talking for a moment as I adjust your camera.
Yeah, for sure. Big stats. You're right on the stats screen, so there you go. Big stats standing out there from Hanzo and Genji. You love to see the carries performing well. And a lot of the game, like macro is important still in the game, but team fighting in this new age of HOTS, after the changeover, it just seems so strong. And they just were team fighting like crazy in that game, just winning on all fronts. The only times they ever gave up kills were in situations where they still had the upper hand, which is kind of what you want to see. Just good trades, even if you're losing people. And they just played it really, really well. I'm looking forward to seeing game 2, though. We did see some signs of life from Who Knows Gaming, especially in the back half of that game. So we'll see if they have anything in the tank here for game number 2.
Absolutely. So we did have the chat question asking who picked the map, and I think you actually were correct. Did you say it was Uncomfortably Numb?
I actually had it backwards, but yes, it was Uncomfortably Numb.
Okay.
I actually looked back at the VOD to see who was picking where, and I had it totally backwards in my mind. So yeah. So now it'll be interesting to see if Who Knows Gaming, if they want to go first pick or map pick. I see a lot of teams in our division go for that first pick and don't really seem to mind the map, especially now that we've got 2 bans. You get to eliminate your least 2 favorite maps. And so most teams at that point are like, we'll play on whatever map. Just give us first pick.
So I do have an answer for you, and they did select map pick.
Aha.
And we are going to Sky Temple.
What an interesting pick, too. Now, this map, what I was about to say about Dragonshire specifically is that it is one of the more macro-heavy maps still because of the way the map objective works. How you rotate, how you gank, how you play the camps and the macro game in general does affect it more than most maps, but this is probably the only other map that affects it even more because of the way the map objective works, how you get all that extra siege damage off of playing the macro better. You don't necessarily have to use the temples to win the game, but it really makes that rotation game more important here than anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. And your structures become a health bar,
right,
as opposed to just simply lane pressure and the potential for catapults and all that. It's quite literally the end of the game when you run out of structures. So let's see. Looks like we've got we have a different player on Uncomfortably Numb.
Ooh, throwing in a sub.
Yeah, I got to figure out which one changed for my notes here. So Novus? Looks like Novus changed. So we're going from Novus to Kicknaz.
Kicknaz.
Yeah.
I love it. And of course, you can't overlook the throw pit on this map. Seen so many games on Sky Temple end on that boss, and who can manage to take it. So we did see, a pretty heavy boss coverage kind of comp last game from Who Knows Gaming with the Brightwing Emerald win, the Falstad Gust. That might have more of an effect here when you have all that boss control.
Sure. I'm gonna let them know that we're ready. I'm ready. I'm assuming you're ready.
I am ready. Looking forward to having a better seat in the house for this game.
Yeah, for sure. You'll actually be able to see it live instead of just a little bit after live.
Right.
So, do want to shout out Mark Zombie coming over with the raid of 10. So, our match being the last matchup for the night here. I don't know that anybody else is currently casting or not, but ultimately,
Looks like we got
the last one to
Sky
start.
Bunny does have one game up right now.
Yep.
Can check on that, see how they're going.
We were the last ones to start, though. I think they started a little bit before us.
Tickle Me Tassadar versus Piecemeal. Looks like they're in game 2 right now.
Good thing. Good deal.
So they're a little bit behind us. But yeah, thanks to Mark. Thanks to all the casters for passing it back to another NGS caster, keeping it in the NGS family.
For sure. And we didn't really get to do an intro at the beginning to introduce you, of course, as head caster Jason for NGS. You have not quite equaled out your average of casts from last season, but that's okay because we've had so many casters who've kind of stepped up to the plate this season too.
Yeah, it's been a pretty incredible shift into season 7, and gotta shout out you. You're casting like a machine right now, and also doing a great job running the Cast My Replay part of the channel for Discord and getting those out to casters too. So you've been doing really good work. But yeah, all of the casters have been doing amazing work. You're actually, if I have my count correct, this is your 20th cast already. And boy, you are really pedaling for that record that I set last year. So
I had to think about it.
So I think you're gonna get by me at this rate. But
I had to think about it. You're right.
I'll have to take a look at season 8 maybe to get my crown back.
There you go. Well, we do see in the draft here, so things starting a little bit differently. We see that Kel'Thuzad ban as they did play it last game. It can be a little bit more of a pain, I think, here even than Dragonshire, just because of the way the point worked. But also the Medivh ban. Yeah,
Medivh is another one of those macro heroes. He gives you really good vision control, the portals to be able to teleport around the map and rotate. He really is the definition of a utility hero. He does good damage. You can count him amongst your melee assassin damage that you're bringing to your squad, but his real strength is in his utility.
And Hitman coming in with the, I don't know, Rainbow Unicorn 5 bits with the not planning to lose again. So, you know what? By all means, make it happen.
Well, speaking of not losing again, they're bringing out the Anduin and stealing it away here from Uncomfortably Numb in this first round of the picks. The Abathur on the other side, good for this map, especially with the Mule, can directly counter the value that you can get off of some of these temples. And you really have to focus on making sure you finish those structures to stop Abathur from getting that Mule value. And then they're going to follow that up with the Sonya, which makes that a very, very strong solo lane for the side of Uncomfortably Numb. Any solo lane that's going to go against that, you're going to have to be very careful because you spear in with that hat, and before you know it, you're caught out dead, and you don't even know what happened.
So we're going to see this second round of bans. I don't see anything from their last round that they would likely take. It's a little surprising to me, but not that surprising to me that they would ban out the Tracer. I mean, Tracer Abathur could really do a lot. It would just depend on what Who Knows Gaming pulls up for their team, and they probably just don't want to deal with that potential dive.
Yeah, that's what I would call a scouting report ban. If you know the enemy team plays something like a Tracer and you're not prepared to counter it, you don't practice against it much, it can definitely be something worth banning. I will say they do have the Rainer, which is one of the main counters to the Tracer, but I don't mind the ban at all if it's something you don't want to play against. But meanwhile, the Joe also picked up here, and on the other side, we're going to see Rexar and Mal'Ganis. So a lot of coverage on that front line for the Mal'Ganis, a lot of good setup, and Rexar just very good on this map in general with his camp ability, a decent matchup into the Sonya. And he can hold down these temples all by himself, so a good solo for those.
And going into the Sonya, I feel like I don't know this for sure, but I feel like Rexar wins that lane against Sonya. Do you know? Is that a thing?
That sounds right, but I think a lot of it depends on the situation. In the wave, obviously Sonya is going to have enough sustain to get through that. Probably also on the shrine with the shrine minions. Would tip that in her favor. But big pickup here with the Vala. We've seen the Vala changes in the recent patch update make her a lot stronger. And Uther, also a very interesting pick. You don't see a whole lot of Uther, but it is pretty good counter to burst damage, which interesting that they picked the Jaina into that with how Uther can really get through that initial burst, get the D shield on somebody that's being focused. It's a good aid to Sonya in particular.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, depending on what Uther takes at 7, he could go with the Hand of Freedom, or no, that Hand of Freedom is Urel. He can go with the Hand of Protection, damn paladins, or he could take Guardian of Ancient Kings, increasing that armor bonus to, I think, all the way up to 50, and you've got the Mal'Ganis stun, you have the root from Anduin, you've got the root potential from Jaina, you've got the Rexar stun. I mean, it's a tough call for me here as to whether I would go for the Guardian or if I'd go for Hand of Protection with as many potential CCs that they've got.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on how your team is playing. If they really need the extra mobility of not being CC'd, or if they need the extra armor to survive longer. So, patches will decide which one's more important and go with that. But in a world where the armor doesn't stack anymore, having that talent that just gives you such a big boost of armor can be a big help with that.
Yeah, and I think that with the Abathur hat to help with healing, and really the D shield likely to be the pick here to save that Vala. I think I would go Guardian, but let's get our teams introduced here. I've got, for Who Knows Gaming, Shinkaigen is going to be on Jaina, Wolf is going to be on Mal'Ganis, Eminem Hitman on Raynor, Lupus64 on Rexar, and Sojiro on Anduin.
And on the right, we have Uncomfortably Numb. We've got Famous on the Johanna. Pilot of Earth on the Abathur, Mr. Monkey Man going to be playing the Vala, kicking ass on the Sonya. We've got Patches on the Uther.
And already kicking as a little bit low, getting a little bit of that healing from the Abathur hat, and manages to pull out. I don't think there's really a whole lot of value for either of these teams other than the Jaina value as far as like wanting to do team fights early game.
Yeah, not really much stacking. Uther does have his stacking talent at 1, but that's just auto attacks to literally anything. Even just the axe hits he's getting right now is going to help him stack that up. And it's not too hard to get that done. Mostly, a lot of Uthers just take that for the passive increase to their mana, so they can have the mana up a little bit more. Though the extra stunning later in the game can be a big influence on that too.
Yeah, and we see Uther up here taking the lane, has the shield coming from Abathur, but the root and the sleep coming out from Mal'Ganis, but he's gonna walk away. Not too difficult for him to do. And just for a point of trivia, Jason, the original caster who I actually had my first cast with.
Ooh.
Jason may not remember that, but I do. And we're going to see a camp invade now here coming out from Who Knows Gaming. Being very aggressive.
They're charging on in. It's a little bit too late to cap it. It's already been capped. And they're taking a lot of extra damage, actually, from these. Jaina is going to go down, tanking those rock throwers there on the siege camp. Vala, though, on the return kill. And Wolf goes back in after Patches, but the Abathur hat is going to come in to give him just enough sustain to be able to make the turn. Famous still on the chase, though. He's not ready to let this go just yet. As they get the stun, but a nice pull. But the leap of faith isn't enough. Mal'Ganis went back in, Aero.
I don't know what to say. Like, I felt like that was the right call. Maybe they were a little bit later than they should have. I don't know. I guess just so much damage coming out from the Siege Giants into the team, managing to get the damage onto Jaina, and you needed the Jaina.
Yeah, without the Jaina, this is not nearly as potent a comp over on the side of Who Knows Gaming. Raynor will bring you some damage, but he's also not really been stacked with the team a whole lot of the time in terms of getting the combo damage, where that Ace in the Hole will be nice as a combo, but they got to actually be battling together to really get the effect of that. But I can tell you this much, Aero, there is nothing that feels worse as an Anduin player when you get that leap of faith and you think somebody's safe and they still die. When you get that full cooldown, it just hurts right in the pit of your stomach.
And probably even worse when they go back in.
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that so blatantly, but okay, yes.
You know, because sometimes you use the leap of faith, maybe they die mid-flight, it sucks, but, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
that you can't do anything about, but yeah, you're right. When they turn around, yeah.
All right,
so... I wasted my cooldown on you.
Yep, for sure. So, looks like Who Knows Gaming is going to go ahead and pull back a little bit off the point, as midpoint going to get picked up by Uncomfortably Numb. And this is, you know what, if you're the blue team, this is not where you want to be at level 6 in this game against an Abathur comp.
Right, pretty much dead even. In fact, a little bit of an advantage in level for the side of Uncomfortably Numb. They are fighting here over the mid, but Sonya going to be able to pick that up. The top lane also has that pushing. Abathur was body soaking, but Raynor goes down to bot, so it's going to push Abathur back just a little bit. But meanwhile, good combo damage onto Famous here for the side of Who Knows Gaming.
Oh, but now Mal'Ganis coming in the back there is Monkey Man throwing some crossbow bolts into that Dreadlord.
Yeah, meanwhile, Abathur hatted kicking ass coming up here. We do have the Jaina coming up on the other side, so this is potentially a 2v1, so we do see Sonya backing up, but both teams kind of have that extra supplemental with the Abathur hat and the Rexar. Jaina taking a ton of damage, but they don't quite find the Chastise in return, and it looks like it's just going to be a bit of back and forth up here over these last few shots.
Yeah, and Jaina trying to get as much poke damage as she can to work toward that ice block, and Sonya's going to spin to win and get out of dodge here. Misha gets the charge stun onto Vala, but no follow-up to get the kill, and Iron Skin used, but Shinkaigen's gonna go down. Wolf going back into the backline with his Fell Claws, but ultimately 4v1 at that point, and 2.25 with the Misha kill in favor of Uncomfortably Numb now.
Yeah, it's a very nice play by Uncomfortably Numb. They did a good job prioritizing most of those shots. They did get the last few, but at that point they were able to turn around and get the kills. And this really is kind of what you would see in a classic hyper carry Vala comp. You've got what is essentially 3 tanks when you look at Uther and his ability to play on the front line. And then, instead of maybe a Tassadar or a second healer, you've just got the Abathur hat able to give a little bit of extra health to Vala. And especially with her new changes, it's very potent to have to play into.
This is really ballsy to start that boss because they have level 10 with everybody here.
Yeah, Who Knows Gaming is going to be able to get level 10 right around the time this boss dies. It's going to be very close here, Aero.
Yeah, and they started that with just the Vala Johanna, so it was a very quick call. Misha in on the point there, gets the stun out, and they're going in trying to stop this. No heroics, Divine Shield going out onto the Sonya, but look at all that damage going into the backline of Red. Monkey Man shredding Jaina, and both Johanna and Jaina now off the point. And Mal'Ganis pops his bats, so the boss will go over to Uncomfortably Numb, but the kills are happening.
Yeah, they get the boss, but it's a 1-for-3 exchange in favor of Who Knows Gaming from the kills at the very least. Maybe a little bit of I don't know if you'd call it a mistake, because he was either going to use the bats or he was going to die. So I don't know. It's but at the end of the day, boss grabbed, but at what cost here for Uncomfortably Numb? Really lets them back into the level lead here. And this boss isn't going to get too much value with the defense. Really, it just gives a little bit of a macro advantage to Uncomfortably Numb as they come back onto the field. They'll get their top camp a little faster, and now they'll be able to rotate down here, with maybe Jaina taking a little bit longer on that rotation as she's still up there working on it.
And I don't know that
struggling with it.
Yeah.
Oh no! It reset.
Oh, feels bad. And now we've got Uncomfortably Numb coming in onto this point because I guess they wouldn't have known that Jaina was there, but ultimately they've got everything. They have the clone, so they can take this fight.
Yeah, they're ready to go, and they do have positional advantage for right now, so no reason to back up on it just yet. There's Jaina going to go up to the top of the clear. Now they see it. Now we're going to see Uncomfortably Numb get a little bit more aggressive as they start to go in and really zone. And look at Monkey Man here. He is just dancing all over this, dealing tons of damage. Misha getting wrecked here. Strafe comes out as they're going to get the damage to get Raynor as well. Mal'Ganis does dive in with the bats, but he is ultimately going to go down. And that is Uncomfortably Numb doing what they do best. They knew when they had the advantage, and they went in deep and got the win.
Yeah, and they had that value with the top lane pushing, getting, half of this fort, and Jaina ultimately having to stall that out. Now, interestingly enough, we see Sonya coming up here. She doesn't... Oh, she gets over the side. Jaina has almost no health, but she's in the middle of a camp. Famous coming up, and ultimately not quite going to get the kill? Maybe?
Oh, Hungry
Very
Aero.
close.
Oh, so close. That's one of those moments where if you're Jaina and you're sitting there being on the camp and the spear comes over the wall, I wouldn't judge one of my teammates for yelping.
Fair enough. Loop is gonna get caught, and that feels like a game that I watched last night on Braxis. Yup, Loop is calling it. That was my bad. I was way too far out. Same thing happened last night on Braxis. Rexar a little bit too far out, and we saw the game lost because of that. So gotta be mindful of your positioning, especially when you're down a talent tier, and especially when the enemy team has a pretty good idea of where you are.
It is one of the toughest, yet one of the most important things in this game is positioning, map awareness, whether it's team fighting or just in the macro game in general. They see all those people up on the top lane. The map, the information is free on the map that they could be rotating there. And you're right, he just got caught out a little bit too far. But now they're on same talent tier, so there's an opportunity for Who Knows Gaming if they could force a fight here quickly. But it's a pretty small window with just about half a level now for Uncomfortably Numb to have those 16s.
And again, you know, we talked about the Abathur factor in this game, not just for the hat, but also for the, not the clone even, the mule. But he didn't actually take mule. He went into a nest build, it looks like, or a hybrid nest build maybe. So even with that, they still have all their forts. So
yeah, to be honest, they haven't really needed it. So who am I to judge at that point? And right now, Uncomfortably Numb is perfectly fine to trade. They were trying to get the 16. If you ask me, it's not a great call from Who Knows Gaming. They needed to kind of force the issue. But Famous going in here deep. He's got no worries in the world. A really good combo, but a nice leap of faith coming out from Anduin on the other side. Out comes the stun ult there from Anduin, and they get the combo. They do get the kill, but at the same time, so much value gained up in that top lane. Or in the bot lane, getting the keep down. Not really worth the trade, I think, in the other two lanes, just getting a couple of forts and that one kill.
Yep. But you know what? They did get the kill, so they can start working on this boss now, and they have a siege camp coming up on their side as well, so they should be able to, in theory, take out this bottom fort. And now Abathur just showed up down here, so he doesn't have his burrow. We'll see if that puts him in a dangerous position when this boss is taken.
If he's got the macro awareness, I expect him to notice that as soon as it pings.
Yeah,
but
and they did just ping the danger.
Right, we'll probably see him back up a little bit. Or maybe he'll go up and melee the boss, I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like maybe he was trying to bait out the tornado, I guess.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, I mean, really, it's just been a big macro play difference. I mean, I feel like Uncomfortably Numb just playing the macro a little bit stronger, deciding when those trades are worth it, and super fast Johanna there, by the way, able to get out. Now level 16's coming in for Who Knows Gaming. They're going to have a couple more shots to try and bring this back, but they're going to have to make something happen. They can't. There's another double altar phase coming up here. They can't afford to trade shrines in this next one as they fall a little bit further behind here on structures.
Yeah, and it looks like Uncomfortably Numb is content coming into the bot lane and getting ready to take this bottom temple. Of course, it's going to shoot into that middle keep, or at least the wall probably. Yeah, the wall's still up. But it means that they don't potentially lose this bottom fort. Well, I guess either one of them goes into the bottom fort, so either way.
Sure. Yeah, either one will target the bottom fort, and then it'll go on to keep. But and you can see it. Who Knows Gaming is playing this correctly. They're trying to find something to force, and they're going to find it here in the mid.
And it is going to be a kill onto the Anduin. Blind as a bat getting out here. Patch is getting very low from that. Fellclaw's all over the place here as the sleep will go out onto Uther, but the chase is on for Rexar and Jaina as well. Clone being used on the Uther, giving him that extra healing, and Mal'Ganis, and then followed up by Jaina, will both go down here. I don't think I had the Mal'Ganis kill on the screen.
Yeah, I give a lot of respect, tip of the hat to Who Knows Gaming. They needed to force that fight. They needed to find the big win there so they could capitalize and get both of these temples. Just great execution on the side of Uncomfortably Numb, as we do see the Hyperion coming out on the other side. They're trying to forestall this progress, and they do have a big push up in top that Abathur's trying to deal with. Sonya now backing to deal with it. But ultimately, Uncomfortably Numb getting closer to these level 20s. It's starting to feel like the walls are closing in a little bit for Who Knows Gaming.
Yeah, and we'll see, what they pick up. Vala going into that auto attack build straight up. We do have the, is it Nerves of Steel? Is that what that is? Yeah. For Sonya, giving her a little bit more survivability. And, you mentioned the fast Johanna. Well, that level 16 fanaticism is pretty crazy. If you want that movement speed, every time you get hit, you get a little bit of a movement speed boost. So it gets her out of danger pretty quickly.
Right.
So trading temples, this is definitely favorable for Uncomfortably Numb, as they already have a keep down. This will potentially even look into a second keep with the wave coming in and Sonya. But now look at this, we've got Who Knows Gaming coming in 4v essentially 2, and Jaina popping the water elemental, getting the root out. Look for that iron skin soon. There's the divine shield, actually.
Yeah, Famous does not have indestructible here. He went with Storm Shield instead, but they get the extra sustain that they were looking for out of that talent. Meanwhile, they're turning around and getting big damage. No level 20s in right now for Who Knows Gaming. As we do see the damage comes out, Mal'Ganis goes down first, and they're chasing in, pushing everybody back on Who Knows Gaming. They can go back one way or the other into the Hall of Storms at this point, as they have now completed the shrines, and they're going to look to get on the core.
Yeah, and they've got the shields down. Patch is very low. Ultimately is going to go down. Let's take a look. He does have Benediction, so he'll be back, so he's not worried.
Yeah, he's still glowing. You can see it. He's back right about now.
And
there
only Anduin left to defend this core, as that's going to be game number 2, going over to Uncomfortably Numb. So a 2-0 victory. Yeah,
after a couple of contested wins in the first couple of weeks, they looked very, very strong tonight. Uncomfortably Numb making a statement here in B West.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I did get the opportunity to cast Who Knows Gaming here a couple, I think it was my first week or what have you. When you've cast this many games, you can't remember, right?
You lose count real fast.
I'll
tell you right now.
But they played a good game previously too. So, you know, there were a couple of, you know, minor moments like I think the Mal'Ganis Carrion Swarm on the boss was actually probably a big turning point for them. And, you know, Mal'Ganis was still pretty healthy when he popped that. So I think that, you know, maybe that was a moment where he forgot that Carrion Swarm takes you off of the map. You don't exist as far as the point is concerned, and kind of gave that away. And you know what? Maybe the game would have been exactly the same, but ultimately that boss got them started on that bot lane pressure, which of course is ultimately where they went to finish the game. Probably most often. Most maps seem to like that bottom lane for finishing.
Yeah, and also pretty decent job being able to get onto the back line and get kills on the influential heroes in the game. You know, getting Jaina 5 times is a pretty big deal. She's generally not the easiest person to kill with the way her slows work and her kit in general, especially after she gets the ice block. But 63k damage coming out from Mr. Monkey Man on that Vala. That is what you want to see from a hyper carry style like this, and they executed it very well.
Absolutely. So Famous is going to join us for an interview. Why don't we hop over into Lobby 5 there in NGS and have a quick chat. Alrighty, Jason's going to join us here in just a moment, but we are joined by Famous, the captain of Uncomfortably Numb. How are you feeling after that big 2-0 victory?
Pretty good. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, what was your keys to victory? What were your keys to victory? What did you do to make sure that you won this game tonight?
Honestly, I don't know. We didn't have much information to go on from our opponents. They've only played like one series so far.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really identify any drafting patterns. So like drafting was kind of just up in the air. Novus, which is his first match tonight, he's been able to play the season because he's works really early in the morning. So we were able to give him a Friday night match, which is good. Really wanted to play Genji, so we kind of just built around that, and then they picked the KTZ, and Genji's a really, really strong counter into that. So
sure.
And then game 2, Abathur's just a beast on Sky Temple, so that was pretty straightforward. Played a little bit of macro there, almost threw on the boss at the start of the game, but didn't happen. So yeah, and everyone played really well.
Good deal. Well, you guys played a pretty fantastic game 1 and game 2. You went, I think, about 14 or 15 kills in game 1 before you lost your first player, ETC. That was, you were the tank, weren't you? Did I just make that up?
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
So you know, the feeder of the team.
Exactly. Yeah. I was actually pissed because Malthael had a self cleanse and could get out of the KTZ bomb, but he got the pull instead of me. Feels bad, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So what? Overall, what do you think was most impactful about what you guys put together tonight, going into this enemy team that you didn't know that much about? What was it about your team that made it so comfortable for you?
I don't know. I think everyone played like exceptionally well in terms of like their personal play, and then just as a team, we tended to usually do really well. And usually we throw one game in a series, but that didn't happen tonight. So yeah, I don't know. Everyone just did real good. Our macro was, I think, pretty solid for the most time. A lot of good camp timings in the first map, and then just getting free XP and fort damage during the towers because we just controlled vision fairly well, I think. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
And shoot, I forgot my other question. Hold on, let me scroll back to it. So if you had to pick an MVP for your team, their team, whichever, of the map tonight, who would you pick? And show your work. Give me an example.
Okay. So I'd say game 2, Mr. Monkey Man. He was playing Vala. Typically our carry player, but we don't often actually put him on the double support just because of the way, I don't know, drafting kind of works out nowadays. But yeah, he really stepped up to the plate in that game, did a ton of damage and finished the kills where he needed to. And I think honorable mention for game 2 would have been Abathur. Controlled the map really well and cycled through for damage and healing where necessary, as well as the mines to just give us vision through the jungle. And then I think game 1, I don't know. It's either Pilot of Earth, just kind of dominating this whole lane. It's a good matchup. Malthael into the Blaze, and then Novus on Genji really did his job for the most part, punishing kills and whatnot, mispositioning errors and stuff.
So what I gathered from that is the most valuable player on the team was literally everybody on the team.
That is 100% true. Except I did not mention myself. So.
You did not mention yourself. I was about to say that. But we're tank players. That's our cross to bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason, what questions do you have for Famous?
Yeah, a couple questions. First of all, welcome back to NGS.
Thank you.
What are you guys looking for? What kind of goals do you guys have for this season? Looking at the whole scope of everybody who's here and what you guys think you can do.
100% first place is the goal. But we'll see what happens. It's always it's good to strive for the best. I think we have a real shot at it. There's some pretty strong competition out there, but we'll see how the season goes, especially playoffs where we tend to have a tougher time. So
yeah, any teams in particular you're looking out for in the division?
Well, we've already played Soak Every Lane, but that was a pretty tough matchup for us, and I think they're gonna do really well. And I think Unemployed Gaming is also showing really well. I thought you guys, Regen, were gonna be, top of the boards, but not quite yet, eh?
You and me both, man. I swear, it's rough week, but
he's still sad over that. Don't tear that Band-Aid off. He needs that moment.
I need that Band-Aid still, man.
And then I think that's gonna kind of be like the top bracket, and then I think it's just gonna be a crapshoot after that. I think everyone's got a chance to beat everyone. So.
Yeah, definitely a few new teams hanging out, a few returning teams with some decent players all around. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how you guys function. It's been fun watching you so far. The Thursday Night Showdown was an amazing match last week against Soak Every Lane. Yeah. And tonight you guys looked on point.
Yeah, I think we played really, really well. A lot cleaner than we had in the last couple of weeks, but it was good. So what can I say?
All right, Aero. Well, that's all I got.
All righty. Well, I was going to follow up with a rivalry question, but Jason pretty well covered that in his question. So I guess I'm all wrapped up. So with that, you guys are tied now with getting those 3 points. You're tied now for third place with Soak Every Lane, behind Running with Turtles and Unemployed Gaming, each at 9 points. So congratulations on that boost.
Thank you. We do have a game to play before the other two, I think, so.
Gotcha. Well, good deal. Don't forget to schedule your flex matches for all of you out there watching. And with that, Famous, any shout outs that you'd like to make to Twitch chat, your team, your opponents, or
Absolutely. Yeah.
whomever.
Who knows gaming? That was a lot of fun. KTZ was pretty scary, so probably won't let that through again. Shout out to my team. I think everyone played super well. Shout out to you guys. Always appreciate the cast. Look forward to watching the replay. Shout out to Div B West. It's been a lot of fun being in the Western Division this season, a little bit different. And shout out to Click Esports, where 2 of us tonight are playing on Maryvale Road in Ottawa, Ontario. And if anyone's ever in Ottawa and want to play some video games, it's a good atmosphere and everyone's really chill. So come join us.
Right on. Famous, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much.
Have a good evening and enjoy your win.
Take care.
So
Even the
Jason-
shout outs are super clean.
Yeah, right. Like, and so smooth right into that. Hey, let me shout out this quick quick sales pitch about the local gaming store. Like, perfect, absolutely perfect. I wonder if he gets royalties for that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
supported.
Right? Like,
Awesome.
hey,
Yes.
yeah, exactly, right. This is our new place, and everybody that comes in gets a free Monster drink. Who knows?
I like it.
So that's it for us tonight. Jason, do you have any other casts coming up at all, or was this the only one that you were able to get for this week?
Yeah, this is the only one this week, and I've been looking at my schedule next week, and not only are all the casts that I'd be available just filling up, like, just in general, there's not a whole lot of room out there, so I've been more looking to see, like, who's casting a game that I have the same time slot open. Maybe I'll jump in with them. But, my big shout out really tonight is to just all of the casters. Everybody's been doing an amazing job. The comparison between running the casting scene at the beginning of last season versus the beginning of this season is just completely different. It's been so easy from a managerial standpoint. Everybody knows what they're doing. I think we're like well over 100 reports already for all these matches. So like everybody's been on point, and we're getting all those matches loaded up to YouTube. So don't forget to check that out and find all of those matches. Get your scouting in the best way possible. And everybody keep up the good work. It's been a lot of fun so far here in the season.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Casters have been great. The teams have been pretty solid on making sure that they communicate with casters as well. And, I mentioned the flex matches, but don't forget to get the rest of your matches scheduled as well. There's still quite a few matches that haven't been scheduled for next week. So, there's hope for you yet, Jay's on there.
The earlier you get those matches scheduled, the higher likelihood you're going to end up with one of those casters, because a lot of us schedule it ahead of time. So.
Yep. Coming up on Sunday, if you are interested in some replay casting, we're going to have a set of 4, possibly more matches. Primarily, currently all actually out of Division D. So, stop by at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday, right here on this channel, twitch.tv/Aero of the Storm. And we'll be going through those. I don't know who's co-casting with me yet. I'm sure somebody will step up to the plate, and we'll have a good time of it. So
if only I had Sundays off.
There you go. Until then, everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. I believe we are the last ones going, unless Sky Bunny is still going.
Let me take a look. They were going into Game 3, but that was a little bit ago. Looks like they are finished up, and she is on the interview train right now, looks like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, I don't know. Is there anybody else that I can send them over to? I guess I could send it to the Nexus Gaming Series, and then that would forward it from there, right?
Maybe. Yeah. Let's see, Kai Berry is this point. I don't know. There's a few people hanging around. But yeah, that would work.
It's not pulling it up for me, because I think it's not live, so it won't do it. All right, well, you know what, folks? Find your favorite caster out there. Somebody's online doing things and playing games. It's getting late anyways, so half of you guys are probably half asleep by now anyways. Thanks again for joining me this evening, Jason. I'm sorry that you missed out on game number 1 by a matter of seconds. But we'll get another one.
It's like I was running to try and get up on the train, and I just missed that one. That's okay. I'll get the next one. It's fine.
Right. Well, at least this one you got to watch as opposed to the train, which, you just have to stand around.
Well, there you go.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday for our replay cast day.